Hi everybody, before we jump into this video, I wanted to encourage you to go over to my website, primitiveliFways.com, and sign up for my free monthly email newsletter. I know you folks will absolutely enjoy the content that's being shared there. We don't share your information with any third-party networks or marketing companies. So once again, go over to my website, primitiveliFways.com, subscribe to our free monthly email newsletter, then go over to your email inbox and confirm your subscription. Thank you, and enjoy this video. All right, folks, so I want to welcome you to part 2 in this video series on making and producing a Hohokam style shell necklace. As you can see in the ceramic vessel, we have all of our olivella shells, and these are ready to become further processed. Now, the process of working with these olivella shells, it's a lot easier compared to grinding and processing the glycymera shell. Glycymera shell is far harder and far more dense than the olivella shell. Glycymera shell is comparable to grinding porcelain. It's not as hard, but you get the idea. So all I'm doing is simply removing the tip on these olivella shells. So here you can see I have 2 olivella shell. Both of them are not baked, so they carry their original coloration. One has the tip, and then one, the tip is ground off. So that's all I'm doing is removing this tip. From there, we can take our cotton rope and feed it through and pull it through the back end, which I'll show you later on in this video as we string everything together and complete the necklace. As far as how many shells I use and the length of shell or the size of shell, it really depends on what you're after. With multiple loops and multiple strands, you're of course going to use more olivella shell. I'm using about 40 to 55, and again that depends on the size of shell that I'm using. Usually about 45 is what I'm using. But you do multiple loops and multiple strands, you're talking anywhere from 250 to 400 shells. And once again, that depends on the type of necklace you're after. There are some Hohokam pieces where you see multiple strands and multiple loops. The more loops, the more strands, the more shell you use. The size, anywhere from 2 centimeters in length to about 8 millimeters in length is what I'm after. So what I do is I take my sandstone slick and I just grind this tip off. It's really not hard. I can feel it start to wear down and I can feel where to stop. And that comes with experience and years of working with this shell. It's a fast process. It doesn't take a long time. And that's because this shell, again, is softer and a lot easier to work with than the glycymera shell. So once again, you can see I'm using the sandstone slick. It's not as abrasive compared to the stone that it's sitting on that I use for the glycymera shell. We're working with different material, so a different tool should be used. So yeah, I'll just continue on. Once I have all these ground and processed, I'll be right back with you. It won't take long, folks. Looking good. Okay, so as you can see, we have all of these shells ground at the tip. We have nice consistent size holes on just about every shell. These are looking really good. So at this point, I need to bake everything. We'll bake the glycymera shell, the olivella shells, turn it all a nice white color, and then string the final product up. Fire is first generated using traditional methods. In this case, we use one of the oldest techniques on the planet called the hand drill. We then create a warm bed of coals, and the shells are slowly cooked inside of a ceramic vessel. Okay, so as you can see, our shells are now baked. We have this nice white color. The pendant looks great. The beads look great. No breaks, no fractures. I would call this successful. You know, one thing that I want to recommend if you decide to experiment with baking shell, and that is you don't need an open flame or super hot bed of coals. What ends up happening with a hot bed of coals and open flame is you superheat the shell and it becomes sacrificed. The integrity becomes sacrificed. So they weaken, they become brittle, they splinter, and they fracture. They're no good. So all I'm doing is heating these shells just enough to turn them white. Once they turn white, that's all I need. As a matter of fact, I can take this pendant and grind it on a piece of sandstone and it'll work just as it did in its original state and form. So with that said, we'll finish out this project and I'll string everything together. So as far as what we need to complete this project, of course, our shells, and then we have organic cotton rope. I have a needle, just a metal needle, to help feed the rope through these shells. Sometimes they can get a little bit tricky. And then of course a sharp knife. So I'll be using all of these implements throughout this process. I'll take my rope, meet the two tag ends together, and we will feed it through this pendant. Okay, so now I pull it and I'll create an overhand knot at this tip. Now I really want a tight overhand knot because that's what holds this pendant in place. It keeps it from slipping off the rope. That should be about good. Take my knife. And we'll cut these two little ends here. Okay, so we have that cut. I just pull this through and you can see that acts as a stopper. Now we have a closed off top, as you can see. So I just pinch and then I'll make another cut. Should have sharpened this knife before I did this, but no big deal. Okay, so now I can feed my shell beads onto each strand, and I usually start off with the larger beads on the bottom, and then as I go up they get smaller. So as you do this, you twist and you push the rope through. And as I said, a needle comes in handy. So you can use this to aid in pulling this rope through. Okay, so we have one bead, and then I'll get another one on the opposite side. Okay, so I have 4 beads strung up onto this necklace. I'll just continue this process of stringing 1 bead on at a time. Once I finish that, I'll be right back with you and I'll show you how to secure the opposite tag ends of this rope. Here we have all the shells strung up. You can see everything's looking really nice. It's tedious work, but not too bad. So from here, to finish the necklace off, I just make a overhand knot or another overhand knot. And I pull tight. And then I will twist each strand into a 2-ply rope. Just a few twists. And then I'll knot that off. So this is just a simple square knot. Okay. Finally, trim the tag ends. All right. Here we are. The necklace is now complete. Alright friends, so that is just about going to wrap up this video on making and reproducing a Hohokam style shell necklace. You know, just like any other primitive craft, they take time, understanding, and effort. If you're interested in purchasing a necklace similar to this, I have them for sale on my website. Visit primitiveliFways.com and click on the store tab. I hope you learned something, and if you enjoyed this video, help us out. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the Primitive Lifeways channel on YouTube, and share this video throughout social media. It really helps us to grow and expand, and most important, it helps us to reach a wide, diverse audience. So with that, once again, I'm Jeff with primitiveliFways.com. We'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.